Hey, and welcome to another episode of Spirit from the Past. But we're back here to talk about Backlash from 2017. I've got Jacob Cameron here. Jacob, how's it going?
It's going well, Malcolm. Thank you so much for having me. When you asked me to do this show, I was like, why does that show seem so familiar? And then I looked it up. I'm like, oh, that's why. So it's not nearly as bad as Uncensored 95, but it's certainly something, all right.
Yep. But as I always like to do, is I always like to do an On This Day segment. So this happened on March 21st from 2017. The number one movie was Alien Covenant. The number one song was a movie called I'm the One by DJ Khaled, which was featuring Justin Bieber, Quavo, Chance the Rapper, and Lil Wayne. And the number one album was Damn by Kendrick Lamar. But, um, but moving into the Backlash, I will start. There was a pre-show match. I didn't watch the full match, but this was one of the pay-per-views where they show the recap of the pre-show match and on the pay-per-view anyway later on. We had Ty Dillinger defeated Aiden English, and from what I could see from what they showed from from it on the cards, like it looked like it was a standard pre-show match. Nothing really much to talk about. But Jacob, what do you think about Ty Dillinger versus Aiden English?
This show, even though it only happened like 8 years ago, it's such a weird little time capsule because of like who's still with WWE and who's not. And it's weird to think that Ty Dillinger would leave and then would come back. And like now he's in NXT and he's a completely different person. This was in the midst of my big love for NXT, so I remember the Perfect 10 Ty Dillinger gimmick very well. I was happy to see him get the win. It's rather sad they didn't really do much with him. That's very sad indeed. Seemed like they were gonna do something with him. I mean, he had people doing this, so there was something there, but sadly I guess we'll never know unless they do something really big with Sean Spears, which I don't believe they're going to at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment it seems to be more about his group than himself.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
but
don't know much about the group. I don't really watch a ton of NXT nowadays, so I don't know much beyond. Oh yeah, Sean Spears is leading a group. That's nice.
um, but yeah, it's always a shame when WWE doesn't do much with someone who's clearly popular. Note carrying cross. who who I'm getting sick of people trying to make it into a work when it's not real.
It's like Fetch. They're gonna try and make it happen, but it's never going to.
Yeah.
And I don't hate Karrion Kross. I think his run at Killer Cross and Impact I thought was great. He was also the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground, which I thought that was really cool too. But I don't know. It's like when Adam Cole did that whole promo, it was like it was all downhill for him from there. He wore the mask, he wore for a brief period of time, he got released, then he was brought back, and then they just did nothing with him. And people are like, he's so underrated and underappreciated. I'm like, there's like at least 5 other guys on that roster that are underappreciated, and Karrion Kross is not one of them.
Yeah, it was and I know I'm going on a weird tangent here, but it's one of those ones. I think he only became popular because of that worked promo he did on the podcast. And that kind of propelled him. It's like, we want more for this guy until he's gone. It's like, but anyway, moving on um, to another match that features someone no longer in WWE and someone who haven't seen much in WWE. So I don't know what's happening with him, but we got the opening match of the main show, which is Shinsuke Nakamura versus Dolph Ziggler. And I believe this was Shinsuke's debut on the main roster as well. But I thought this was a pretty good match. Like, this is definitely one of the highlight matches on the show. And I thought it was good. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about Shinsuke versus Dolph?
I agree with you. This was okay. I feel like Brian Zane of Wrestling with Regret needs to make a Shinsuke Nakamura in WWE video because I think there's a lot of material he could pull from, but that's besides the point. I thought Shinsuke's NXT run was great. Like, I loved his presentation. It's the same as what he was doing in New Japan, but I had no litmus test for that beyond his AJ Styles match, so I didn't really know. And so, like, I thought his presentation was great. His NXT run was really good. His match with Sami Zayn, he had a couple great matches with Samoa Joe. I'm like, okay, this guy seems too big to fail. Oh, how I was wrong. But again, another story, another time. This match was fine. If you're going to put Shinsuke in the ring with someone, it might as well be Ziggler because he can make his strikes look great. But this just felt very basic, I guess, if that's the right way to say it.
Yeah. But then next up we had something that I completely forgot Breezango was doing, which is these fashion files sequence, which and really enough, when I was looking into this, apparently this same segment was what was played on SmackDown the week before era, because this was the era where SmackDown was actually on Tuesdays. This was the era of Tuesday night SmackDowns.
Yeah.
And I look, I forgot how entertaining Tyler Breeze and Fandango was together.
Yeah.
I think these segments were entertaining enough. But going into the match, we had the Usos versus Breezango for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Um, Look, I thought it was funny when the commentators were trying to make it so hard to pretend that it wasn't Tyler Breeze in disguise when he came out of this janitor costume, and then later on in the match, where he's like comes out dressed up as an old lady, is like, I'm just like, they were trying way too hard to make it seem like there was someone else.
That's my problem with it. They were just trying way too hard. I think some of the Breezango segments were very funny. I will admit that. But I just feel like they were just trying way too hard. I'm like, why is he a janitor now? Can someone like explain this to me? It's like doing the thing with like the Killer Bees with Twin Magic where they were like wore masks and like pinned their opponents that way, but like in the context of what they were doing there, it made sense because that was a part of like their whole strategy. Here is just like you're fighting for the SmackDown tag team titles against the Usos. Like, think about where you are right now. And thinking about this match and thinking about like where the Usos now, I could have sworn that the Usos were going to be a team for the rest of their careers. I'm not saying that that's what they were going to do. I'm just assuming that like surely like they're never going to break up, and they did, and they've both gone on to do good things. Like, I don't want to get into the Jey Uso discourse here because that'll turn this into something different real quick. But it like you would just think, oh, they're just going to stay together forever. It's a surprising and good year for them. They had that series of matches with the New Day, which those matches just seemed to get better the more they went on. But again, if you ever do Hell in a Cell 2017, you can talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, this is as well. It was like the Usos one was like being a bit up and down, especially when they were like tag champs. Like you either have these random matches against Breezango, where it was obvious they were going to win because they weren't really doing anything big with Breezango, or it was them facing the New Day, which, as you said, that were a better match. And actually, funny enough, these first few matches is someone still in the company versus someone not in the company, because then we move into Sami Zayn defeating Baron Corbin, um, which this match, I thought was decent. I don't even remember why they were feuding at this point. This just feels like it was a match they just threw on because this was the last like SmackDown exclusive pay per view that they did before they went back to just both branded. But it's like this is just one of those matches where it's like it didn't need to be here, but it was decent for what it was. But Jacob, what do you thought about Sami Zayn versus Baron Corbin?
I mean, it's Sami Zayn. You're going to get a good match out of him no matter who you put him with. And and I've always I always thought Baron Corbin was going to be like a lifer, and it's so strange that he's no longer there. Like I remember I was watching a clip from Busted Open, and he was like, I was like, oh yeah, he's not even there anymore, and he like has a real name, like his name's Tom Pistock, I think it is, and he's like an MLW now. I'm like, this is just a weird visual. He and Dijak are the tag champions right now. I might be completely wrong on that, but that was where I last saw him. Point is, it's a very strange like thing to not see Baron Corbin in WWE anymore because for like the 2010s he was just there and like now he's not. And I agree with what you were saying that I feel like this match was just to get both of them on the card, which I'm never going to turn down a Sami Zayn match, but at the same time, both of these guys could have been doing far more entertaining things. Like Corbin had a match with Kalisto at TLC in a chairs match that was low key kind of better than this, and I think that's a hot take, but there you go.
But the next up we had the promo from Jinder Mahal, who's like his typical Maharaja promos. He always did like nothing really spectacular there. But then we had James Ellsworth in the ring, calling him for whatever reason he called himself Michael Jordan of sports entertainment, and as he introduced like the team of Carmella, Natalia, and Tamina, which defeated Becky Lynch, Charlotte, and Naomi, which I never thought I'd ever say those words in my life, but um,
I completely forgot about the James Ellsworth thing until I was looking up stuff from the show again. I remember just when he was like a thing for like maybe a year, give or take, and just his goodwill was like, man, this guy looks kind of weird, but we like him too. Get him off my screen right now. Do you remember, Malcolm, when he pulled down the briefcase in the first ever women's Money in the Bank ladder match? Like, do you remember that?
Yeah, I vaguely do.
But just in general, this is just a weird match. Like, why are they named the welcoming committee? Who are they welcoming? Charlotte has, at that point, had been on the main roster since the summer of 2015. Same thing with Becky Lynch, and Naomi had been on the main roster since roughly 2012, give or take. So by the time of this show, about 5 years. The welcoming committee only makes sense if they were calling up someone like, I don't know, like Shayna Baszler or someone like that. She was not on the roster yet. She would be in the Mae Young Classic later, but I just was pulling a name. Like the new women wrestlers be like, hi, we're the welcoming committee. We're going to beat you up. Like something like that. That's the only context that makes sense. They put them up against Charlotte, Becky, and Naomi, who don't have near the experience as them, but at the same time, they have experience. I mean, Carmella debuted about the same time or just after Becky, Charlotte, and Sasha. So why is she there? It doesn't make a ton of sense.
Yeah. So from what I understand from looking at this, is like the group of the welcoming committee that they were welcoming like Charlotte Flair and Tamina, who had just been moved to SmackDown, and then Natalia somehow got involved with that as well. But that's from what I could sort of read from what I understand is like, but yeah, the match itself I thought was fine. Like this was the standard sort of 6-man tag match where everyone sort of got a chance to do something. There's like nothing really super stellar about this at all. But yeah, what are your thoughts about the match itself?
It was fine. Like, I don't want to come across as harsh because I think all of these women are actually quite talented. I just feel like any combination in like a single or even just a tag would have been fine. Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like just in general, thinking back on this show, and I don't want to go too deep into the weeds on this one because I'll be here all day, but like 2017 was a bad year for SmackDown. It feels like every division was just going through it. Like the only saving grace was AJ Styles and Kevin Owens, and then even they were like barely making anything of it. But we'll get to them in a second. But
Yeah.
I mean, just a bad year for that show all around.
Yeah, and funny enough, at this stage, Naomi was the SmackDown like world champion.
Oh yeah, she was the champion. She won it at Mania. She beat Alexa in that six pack challenge.
Yeah. So it's funny. It's like 8 years later, she's champion again, but on a different brand.
Naomi's been very good at her job for quite a bit now, so I'm glad that like someone's be like, you know what, let's put the belt on her. Like she deserves it. And she's been champion, of course, but I feel like with her, I feel like she's just always been good. It's just a question of she just needed someone to be like, hey, what about her? And now it's finally happening, and I'm happy for that.
Yeah, but then they decided to shove her into a commercial promo on Raw last week.
And now she is supposedly not medically cleared, if we can believe that.
I mean, I don't think she will be out for long though, because she did post something on her social media, like, because she actually had an accident on her money briefcase suit scooter thing that she rides around on every now and then backstage. So
yeah.
But next up we had Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles for the US title. I completely forgot this was the era where Kevin Owens would call himself the face of America.
Even though he was Canadian and still is very much Canadian, I thought that had a lot of potential. I feel like they could have done more with that. And then he gets involved with Shane McMahon and that whole thing. And like I said, folks, this is a bad year for SmackDown. Like no matter where you look, it's all just pretty awful. But I feel like this match was, I think it's de facto match of the night, but it has a bad finish. Like Styles gets counted out, but because he gets his foot caught in the wires of the TV monitor, which is something that would just never happen today. It was stupid when I watched it, and it's still stupid today.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those ones. It like when I was watching it, I was actually wondering, like, was that supposed to happen, or did it just that way because like he really did get stuck in the announce table? And I think that we'll never truly know if that was like a real spot or was like if it was just something like they had to do because like they had to get him out somehow. It's like, well, we're going to have to count him out. We can't just pretend this match is not is he's been out there for like half an hour. We can't just leave him out there. But yeah, no, I thought the match like I actually thought this was match pretty good. Like funny enough, I actually enjoyed another match a little bit more. But um, but I still think it was good. Like I had fun with this match. I don't think it was bad, but yeah, I do agree with you on the finish though. Like it was a really stupid way to get finished. Counted out. But next up we had Luke Harper versus Eric Rowan. Because they're feuding because reasons. I don't quite remember why they broke it up. I think it was
first of all, First of all, rest in peace to Brody Lee.
Yeah.
Like that, we shouldn't bury the lead on that one.
Yeah.
It honestly, like the Wyatt family and that whole saga deserves to have like a book written about them, like the oral biography of the creative decisions behind that stable. Because I'd buy that book day one, because just the level of stuff that they were going through. I forget, is this the era where Rowan had like the caged like spider looking thing, or was that before? No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. I speak out of turn. This was like whereas like the sheep mask was like talking to him, I think. There are like several versions of Eric Rowan where you're just like, wait, was that a thing? And then you just blink and like, wait, was that a thing also? And you just like you just forget yourself.
Yeah. But I don't quite remember what era of Eric Rowan this is. All I can sort of remember, I think this might have been the one where, like, I think it was either Luke or Eric. They wanted to leave the Wyatt family, and then the other one got upset about it and wanted to face them. I don't know. I was crazy on what.
Later on this year, they become the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yeah. But yeah, for whatever reason, this match was happening. Like, I thought the match was fine. Like, it wasn't overly exciting, but it wasn't boring either. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about this match?
It's kind of like Jim Cornette. He once talked about how the Road Warriors, how if you put them against another like big guy group, it was like this. Like you had to put them with someone like the Four Horsemen or the Midnight Express, nimble guys. I feel like with Harper versus Rowan, it's just two big guys doing this. Not saying that they're not talented, because they are, but I feel like they were just the same type of Pokemon, and you were just like seeing just it. Like it could have been way better, but it just didn't really amount to much.
Yep. And then next up, we had Jinder Mahal defeating Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And one of those, look, and I did look. I thought this match was fine for what it was. Like it's one of those ones that you knew when Jinder was coming out of his Bollywood brothers or whatever they were called at this time.
The Singh brothers.
Yeah. But like you knew they were going to get involved somehow. But it's like no one expected Jinder Mahal to win against Randy Orton. But so I thought the shocking finish of Jinder winning, I thought I actually worked. I just wish they did more with his reign than what they did. I don't know how. I don't remember how long. Because I don't think he had a very lengthy reign.
He won it at this show, and then he lost it. And then he lost it at a SmackDown in London in, I want to say, November. So is it April, May, June, July, August, September? So like give or take 6-7 months.
Yeah. But yeah. But Jacob, what are your thoughts about the match?
There has been a lot made about the Jinder Mahal WWE title run, and I'm not really going to unpack all of that here. I feel like this match was actually pretty solid. I'll never forget the visual of Randy Orton backdropping the Singh brothers onto the announce table, and he backdrops the one and he over rotates and he like lands on his head and neck, and Orton's reaction is priceless. He goes, ugh. Like he just knew in that moment, like, I think I overdid that one. Of course, he would turn out okay, thank God, but just I'll never not like look at that and just laugh, because it just is so funny to me. And then this was just pretty much all of Jinder's title matches, if you really think about it. It's like basic stuff One gets a finisher in, Singh brother interference, Kalas, the end. The only difference was the Punjabi prison match when the Great Khali showed up. Again, 2017 was a bad year for SmackDown, folks, if I haven't made that clear. But I feel like it was just a strict formula with this, and no one liked it. No one liked it at all.
I mean, that also sums up a lot of Roman Reigns title matches too.
I mean, that's true, but the Bloodline saga was hot for a bit there. But nothing with Jinder really ever was. It wasn't his fault. He tried, but it just didn't work.
Yeah. But that brings us to the end of this. Is there any booking decisions you'd go back and change if you go back in time?
I'm not going to say don't crown Jinder champion. I'm just not going to do that. I feel like that's too easy. I mean, if I had to change one thing, it would be like, if you're going to beat AJ Styles, like, pin him clean. Like, I'm just saying, like, actually have Kevin Owens actually get that win, like that bigger win, and then have AJ win the title at SummerSlam. Do something definitive like that. Clean up that finish. That's what I would have done.
Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of similar to what I would have said actually as well. It's like I would have just had like a clean finish for the Kevin Owens AJ Styles match. And a lot of it was just a case of like I'd maybe move. Actually, no, I think I think that's what it goes like. But overall, Jake, what would you rate the pay-per-view out of 5 stars?
I'd give the show a 2. It's not horrible. There would be worse Backlash shows like before and after this, but just in general, this is just a very weak show. Like, I remember watching this and being the first time being like, this was not that good. Because like the greater wrestling world outside of WWE was really doing great things. New Japan was doing good, Ring of Honor was doing good, PWG was still crushing it. There was a lot of indies really doing a lot of good stuff. Like WWE with NXT and the UK tournament and the Mae Young Classic, they were doing good there, but like they were on the peripheries of WWE. Like main roster WWE was so hard to like get through and watch, and like 2018 would be even worse than this. But we're in prime, like 17 through 20 is the prime. We're making too much money to care about the creative era of WWE. I mean, we're kind of sort of in that like nowadays, but it was even worse back in the late 2010s.
Yeah. For me, I'd give it 3 out of 5. Like I had a little bit more fun with this. I thought it was fine for what it was, but it's like I'm kind of confused. Like it also wasn't overly good, as good as some of the better pay-per-views we've already talked about on this. But with that, I'm going to spin the wheel to see what the next pay-per-view I talk about is, and hopefully it is something that is on Netflix or I don't spin away from that one because I don't think there's any ECW pay-per-views on Netflix, or the ECW ones I don't know if they're actively able to be found. Cyber Sunday 2006, I believe, is so. I'm going to go back in time to where you could vote using your phones, but go to Cyber Sunday 2006.
Okay. That was DX versus Rated RKO with Bischoff as the referee.
Yeah.
And I know nothing else from that show.
I think I remember some of the positions. You got Umaga and Kane. You got Prime Time versus the Highlanders, Charlie Haas and Ed Lardsgate and Trevor Murdoch. Jeff Hardy versus Carlito. Lita and Mickey James. Ric Flair and Waddy Piper versus the Spirit Squad.
Oh, wow. I forgot that Flair and Piper were tag champs against the Spirit Squad. Wow.
And you got King Booker versus Big Show and Big Show and John Cena in triple threat match. So yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a fun and interesting show, but it's going to be fun to talk about when we get there. But that is the end of Spear from the Past from this week. Jacob, where can people find you online?
My YouTube channel is at RyanCam20. I talk about mostly movies on there. Earlier today, I uploaded my review for the original Leslie Nielsen Naked Gun, so definitely check that out. And last night, I did a spoiler discussion of the movie Weapons with my friend who's my friend named Ryan. So those are both up on the channel, and I've got some very fun things planned for the rest of the year. I'm going to be bringing Malcolm on for one of my bigger series in October, so stay tuned for that.
And you can find me on Tape Productions as I rank them every Sunday night. Next week, we'll be doing Kurt Russell movies. Next episode of Speed from the Past, as I said earlier, just before, is going to be Cyber Sunday from 2006. And you can also find me popping up here and there on other places. I'll be on the family movie tournaments on the Movie Hero Network this week. But until next time, that is the end of Speed from the Past for this week. See you all next time as I bring back.